Good evening. It is 7:32, and I'd like to call to order the November 28th, 2023 meeting of the Norwalk Common Council. If you'll please rise and join me in pledging allegiance to our nation's flag. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it
and
stands,
a nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk, if you'll please call the roll.
Mr. Burnett,
Present.
Mr. Goldstein,
Present.
Mr. Lopez,
Present.
Ms. Najolski Eichner,
Present.
Ms. Smith,
Here.
Ms. Ayers, Mr. Seed,
Here.
Mr. Wiggins,
Here.
Ms. Young,
Here.
Ms. McMurray,
Here.
Ms. Murray,
Here.
Ms. Dunn,
Here.
Mr. Sutton,
Present.
Mr. Prayer,
Here.
Ms. Shanahan,
Here.
15, we have a quorum.
Okay, 15. First order of business, acceptance of the minutes of the regular meeting of November 14th, 2023. Do I have a motion? Mr. Burnett? Any corrections, deletions, or omissions? Mr. Burnett?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just one minor one on page 5. The first paragraph under the council president's remarks, the last sentence, the word "and" should be as. That changes the content of the whole sentence.
Okay, that's on page 5.
Page 5, the first paragraph under the council president remarks.
Mhm.
Where it says he thanked Ms. Young as majority leader.
Right. Very good. Any further corrections or omissions or deletions? Seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes as corrected? Any opposed? And abstentions? Mr. Seed, Mr. Sutton, were you here at the meeting? Mr. No. So you abstain. Anybody? Ms. Smith is abstaining.
Jane. Yes.
Anybody
Thank you.
else?
Abstain. I abstain.
Miss Murray. I gotta get these names straight now. Okay, so do you have that?
Ms. Smith, Ms. Lopez,
I was
Murray,
not here. So.
Sutton,
Yeah, and Seed
and Dunn.
Done. Yes.
and Dunn.
He's not here.
So
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
And Murray.
6, okay,
And Murray.
Okay.
Dennis Murray.
Yes, thank you.
okay. Next item on the agenda, approval of the minutes of the special meeting of November 21st, 2023. Do I have a motion? Ms. Ayers, and then any corrections, deletions, or omissions? Seeing none, all in favor of the minutes as submitted? Opposed? Abstentions? You were here, you were here for the meeting, right?
That's our first meeting. You were there.
When you first?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I think, yeah.
Oh.
All right, so let's ask that again. All in favor? You can vote. All opposed? Abstentions? One abstention, Ms. Dunn. And I don't see anybody on Zoom. Okay, so the motion carries. Next is public participation. James, do we have anybody wishing to address the council? Okay, if you'll ask her to unmute.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thanks so much. First of all, good evening. For the record, my name is Diane Lauricella, 21 Little Fox Lane. I wanted to congratulate all of you for your win in the recent election. Looking forward to working with many of you in hopes that we can move forward on some important issues. I want to welcome aboard the new members and welcome back the incumbents, including you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, I just wanted to speak about an item in section 7, item 3A and B related to the Stantec contract. Unfortunately, the amendment that is listed for 2023 was not in the packet that the public had access to. And I didn't have time because it was just listed 24 hours ago to come into City Hall to check it out. But as kind of like a word of wisdom, I worked for 2 environmental engineering firms in the past, so words do make a difference in looking at contract amendments and language, of course. I was told by Mr. Stowers that mostly this particular item on your agenda tonight for a vote is about drainage. So the word mostly, I did a little homework, spoke with some of you. Drainage, electrical service, irrigation design, and flood modeling, of course, is very important on any playing field, especially at Broad River. The thing is, what I do not see is very important because depending upon what kind of turf material is selected, that will instruct and should be designed by an engineering firm. If you're going to have natural turf, the drainage and irrigation design is of a certain nature. I also would like to see wording tonight, if not sending it back to committee, related to electrical service. I would say it must be renewable energy because that site is in the sun almost the entire time. And it would be a shame for us to miss the opportunity for elevating renewable energy on this site. So I ask again that sooner rather than later, and many of the new members on this council, there has been a long time issue related to adding artificial turf fields versus natural turf fields. And I have asked for a neutral party to evaluate the available information about the pros and cons of natural turf versus artificial turf from a cradle to grave cost effort to the health concerns to the environmental concerns. I don't think that unless it is stated in this amendment, which I don't have access to, that Stantec will be told to make their modeling and design one for
You're at
natural
2 minutes
turf,
and 50 seconds.
one for natural turf, and one for artificial turf would be very important. It is not, no matter, you all are not engineers, and it's important that this engineering company be directed, and it makes a difference. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you. James, anybody else wishing to address the council? I'm sorry?
There's not.
Okay. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is resignations and appointments. Ms. Ashley Gullius resigned from the Commission on Status of Women as she was elected to the Board of Education. There are no appointments or reappointments to discuss. Next, just the mayor's remarks. This past Saturday, many of you attended the second holiday extravaganza on Washington Street. It was an absolute fantastic success. There were hundreds, if not 1,000 or more people there that attended. They enjoyed the indoor holiday market, tree lighting ceremony, and even got to see the Grinch rappel from the top of 50 Washington Street. Wonderful entertainment, music, dancing, just a lot of things. And a lot of people were walking the streets of Washington Street in the area, and I hope that brought a lot of business to our merchants. We have a tree lighting ceremony coming up this Friday evening, December 1st at 5:45 here at City Hall. Santa Claus will be making an appearance, and we will have musical performances by the Norwalk High School Chamber Singers, Brian McMahon High School Choir, the Norwalk Girl Scouts, and Crystal Theater, and the Norwalk Community Chorale. Second annual Wall Street Wonderland celebration coming up this Saturday night, December 2nd. From 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. We're hosting the Wonderland celebration, take place at the Wall Street corridor on River Street. Enjoy performances by local artists, tree lighting, carnival slide for all ages, and a visit from Santa Claus as well. Santa's going to be making a lot of appearances in Norwalk over the next couple of weeks. And last but not least, first, please join me and Rabbi Hecht of Bethel Israel and the staff at Stu Leonard's for community menorah lighting at Stu Leonard's on the first night of Hanukkah, which is Thursday, December 7th at 5 p.m. I will turn the meeting over to you, Ms. President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we're going to move forward with the consent calendar for November 28th, 2023. First item is 6A, Corporation Council. A1, authorization to discuss claims. I cannot read that. In Aqueous Film Forming Foam Products Liability Litigation, MDL number 2-8MN 2873, RMG, City of Camden et al. 3M Company, case number 223 CV 01314-RMG. And also in number 1, in Aqueous Film Forming Foam Product Liability Litigation, MDL number 2-8MN 2873, RMG, City of Camden et al. DuPont, case number 223 CV 03203. I'm going to move those items forward. 7A, Recreation, Parks, and Cultural Affairs Committee. A1, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to enter an agreement with the City of Norwalk's Recreation and Parks Department for the use of Veterans Park and immediate surrounding grounds for the 31st Annual Fitness Fun Run to be held on Saturday, December 2nd, 2023, from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. with a rain date of Sunday, December 3rd, 2023, set up to begin at 8:30 a.m. with tear down no later than 12 p.m. Approximately 700 people. 7A2, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to enter into an agreement with the City of Norwalk's Recreation and Parks Department for the use of Calf Pasture Beach and immediate surrounding grounds by Norwalk Police Department of Recreation and Parks for the 3rd Annual Jingle Bell 5K to be held on Saturday, December 9th, 2023, from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Set up to begin at 8:30 a.m. with tear down no later than 12 p.m. Approximately 300 people. 7B, 1, Public Safety and General Government Committee, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the town of New Canaan for acceptance of New Canaan Police Department prisoners for holding pending arraignment during the renovation of New Canaan Police Department. And that concludes the consent calendar. And so if you've heard the consent calendar, and if there are no objections, are all in favor? Show by raising hands, is that what I have to say?
Mhm.
Okay. Opposed? Objections? Okay.
Okay, passes unanimously. Now somebody's gonna have to help me out. Who's the chair of the Recreation Parks? Is that you again, Ms. Young? So now items 7.3 A and B.
7.3.3A, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute a First Amendment to the April 24, 2020 agreement for professional engineering services between the City of Norwalk and Stantec Consulting Services, Inc. regarding the Broad River Park for an amount not to exceed $108,000 in accordance with the attached scope of services dated August 15th, 2023, account number noted. 3B, authorize the Director of Recreation and Parks to issue change orders in amount not to exceed $10,800 for professional engineering services with Stantec Consulting Services, Inc. regarding the Broad River Park, account number noted.
Michelle, move the item, and you're gonna wish to discuss it?
Yes. All right, I think we have both on the line, Ms. Valderas and Mr. Stowers. Mr. Stowers for Recreation and Parks and Ms. Valderas can speak to this issue.
Yeah, Vanessa is going to speak to the engineering and
Yes,
my
do you guys
vote.
want to move first the item? I'm sorry. Do you guys need to vote to move the item or no?
We moved it.
The item's moved, and now we're just
Okay.
having discussion.
Okay, I'm sorry. So good evening, everyone. Vanessa Valadares, Chief of Operations and Public Works. The reason that we need to add some extra work for the Stantec original contract is that, as many of you may remember, engineering require a drainage study on the Ponos area. And as part of that study, there is a lot of drainage that runs under the baseball field, and the outfall is on the river on the other side of the field. So one thing that we need to do is make sure that when we do, and just to go back a little bit, as part of that drainage study, it came out as we will need to phase it out to be able to build that project. And one of the first parts that needs to be built is we always start from the outfall, and we're going to start going downstream to be able to finalize the project. So the baseball field is actually in one of what we consider the first areas that we will need to do the drainage project. Because we do not have all the funds yet to do the project, what we would like to do is be able to design the field to accommodate already the future drainage project that will be ended up happening in that area. Therefore, we need to add some extra design work to our original consultant, that is Stantec, so they can evaluate the impact of the drainage through that area based on the study that we did, and accommodate the pipes under the field already to mitigate the flood in that area and the future project that will come afterward. So that's pretty much the only thing that we are doing as part of this extra work to them. Everything related to their design has already been part of their scope. So this extra is really, that's why we say that it's just for drainage, because they need to really now include bigger pipes under the field that originally wasn't part of it. Also to be able to accommodate the field and build that field prior to the whole drainage project, we're going to also change the elevation of the field, because also that will help with the drainage in the area. So that's basic what this extra money is for. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Any comments or discussion or questions? Ms. Dunn?
I do. Not having read the project, so pardon me, but does the scope of the project include drainage toward the Kellogg Deering Well Field, which is part of the First Taxing District Water Department? Because I know it's kind of abuts where most of us get our drinking water in the First Taxing District.
No, what happened is that we are not changing the regular course of where the outfall goes, that is right at the river. We are just really changing the size of the pipes under the field, and that will be connected to our existing outfall that is already there as part of this scope.
And the outfall goes into the river.
Correct.
So if there's more grass and more, okay.
There is already grass there in the area.
Yeah.
What we are trying, I'm happy, Ms. Dunn, one day if you want to come to our office, I have to give you a whole, I can show you all the slides related to the drainage project that we did a presentation last year about it. But just to kind of summarize what it is for the new members that is not familiar with it, what happened is that we have a lot of water coming from upstream, let's say west of the baseball field, that needs to be converted to the outfall. And there is a lot of properties in that area that get flooded very often. So we do know what needs to get done to be able to minimize, and one of them will be to really upgrade those pipes. So what we were trying to do on this study is really already build those pipes under the field, so we don't need to go back and change.
But the pipes are draining into the river directly?
Yes, that drainage pipe, yes.
Okay.
Not directly, connects to our system on Silver Mine Road, I think is the name of the road, and then gets to the outfall.
And is the river part of the scope of the study?
No, just the outfall, not the river.
Right.
But this has nothing to do with what we are approving now. As part of the scope,
know,
it's very limited to the location of the field.
Any further questions or discussion, Ms. Dunn?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Any further comments or discussion? Seeing none.
Mayor,
Sorry?
Najolski Eichner
Oh,
has
I'm
her
sorry,
hand raised.
Ms. Nadiosi Eichner. Normally you come up to the top.
No worries, and I apologize that I cannot be there in person. Ms. Valderas, I noticed that in the scope of work is the possibility of doing water retention under the field, which is obviously an appealing prospect given our sort of goals to kind of increase our flood mitigation. Is that something that was already incorporated in the initial design that you all had presented to us last year, or is this a possible new addition to further reduce the area flooding?
Well, that's one thing that we want to take in consideration. We want to make sure that they can also consider trying to hold a little bit of the water, because
We
we
lost,
want to delay the runoff.
we
So
lost you
that's
for a
why we
moment. Could you
we
repeat
want to
that?
See if we can use this. I'm sorry, I think I don't have a very stable internet today. So yes, we're gonna consider to see if we can hold a little bit of that water under the field, because that delays the runoff. So, and we can hold a little bit more water there. So that's what is part of, based on what we have from the study, they're gonna use all those numbers to be able to design the field in a way that we can maximize and accommodate for the drainage project.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's an interesting prospect. So I look forward to hearing more. And then I think the follow-up question, so this proposal, as I understood the documentation, is based on the proposal that the infield of the baseball field be turf and the outfield be grass. If the city were to decide to go to a fully grass model, will that change the scope of the contract? Is this something we would need to revisit at that time?
So the way that our contract with Stantec now is that they are designing a couple of models based for the finishing of the field. And after that, we're gonna have also a cost estimate to it. And as you guys are aware, we have to come back to you when we decided to go out to bid and come up with the proposals that we received from the bid. So we are really on the design phase, and we are trying to see what will be the best fit for that field. So we're taking consideration not only I would call the hybrid model, the totally grass model, but also we are taking consideration what will be better for the drainage itself. So depending on the model, also it changed the size of the pipe. So we are having a very holistic looking how we are designing this field.
Terrific. Thank you very much. I appreciate that clarification.
Any further discussion or proposal? Ms. Young.
Ms. Valadares or Mr. Stowers, can you speak to the comment about the electrical design and the renewable energy piece that was mentioned by one of our speakers?
The only new electrical extra work that is part of this scope is that we are considering lighting one of the fields, and we may need to upgrade our capacity to it. That wasn't part of the original scope. So that's what is that electrical upgrade.
And are there opportunities for renewable energy to be incorporated into, or is this something that's going to happen later on, after?
Well, the good thing is that if we go with a lighting field, if we get approvals for it, will be all LED.
And then there was a comment about the type of drainage depends on the type of material. You know what that, can you explain that, or does that?
I'm not sure
what that meant, right?
What was the question? That
so there was a comment about the type of drainage depends on the type of material, I guess, if we're going to use grass
Or turf.
or turf.
I understood that.
Right.
Well, and as I just stated, yes, all that will be taken consideration now when they consider the drainage for it.
But I think, is that going to be our focus if we're looking to do a hybrid type of field of grass and turf?
Yeah, so we totally understand what is the concern that everyone has here. And as soon as we have like a concept model and with some estimate prices, the idea that we have, we're going to come back and do a presentation through the Recs and Parks board, explaining what is the design, and what it would be the cost associated to it. So we're gonna be very, very transparent on the process before we advertise to bid.
Thank you.
I think, this is Robert Stowers. I think, Ms. Valdez also indicated that, you know, all the other options, are still fully being considered. So, you know, it'll be a comprehensive, you know, briefing to you. And so, we're not excluding anything right now, but we need to know what the other option, the cost and the other option is. But this drainage work has to be done, no matter if we didn't build a field at all. So, it has to be done.
Thank you.
Further comments or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Ms. Dunn abstains, and the others are in favor. Ms. Shanahan? I think that's the last item on the agenda.
You need a motion?
I need a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Don't we have
Motion,
Executive
to,
session.
Wait, we have executive session, right?
no,
Okay,
motion to adjourn at 7:58. Thank you.
that was on the consent calendar.